Welcome back to the Everything Goes Podcast with your host, TAK. A weekly podcast with the latest sports news, the hottest of the hot takes, and the best predictions you can get. Now, Chris, Ace, take it away.
What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Everything Goes Podcast with TAK, episode 181. I feel like we never, ever talk about what episode we are on, but that's a big one. Some things we're going to discuss today on the agenda. Panthers' historic upset over the Boston Bruins in Game 7 in overtime, as the first round of the playoffs with all of the games so far have been just insane to watch. The NFL draft has come and gone. Undrafted free agents are being signed. We will discuss how we feel our teams are graded and have done and covered the positions that we need. MLB has a new top 10 rankings. Yankees aren't in that, but the Twins and Pirates, my hot take, if we go back a couple episodes, I predicted the Pirates are going to be a wild card team this year, and that hot prediction is looking pretty good right now. How you guys doing? I'm excited to be back. I think for those that got to see the YouTube video last week, we did some edits where I just was like, I think I watched the first 20 seconds like 30 times and I was like, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. But how you guys doing?
So the Pirates are in second place overall, I think, in all of baseball, second best record.
Really?
So that's a really good call by Ty. But yeah, I'm good. Chris?
I'll have to go back and check that tape. I
remember that specifically because Ace gave me the Rock's eyebrow where he was like, are you sure you want to say that hot take? Like, are you sure you want to say that hot take?
Chris, we got to get him to cut these videos up just so that we could have proof now.
We're going to make like a little playlist on YouTube that is just
yes.
hot takes to come back and verify that we have said these things.
I need a hot take board right there.
Like a whiteboard, and we're just going to start writing them down and dating them.
Chris, I have some minutes. You know what? This is an on-air production meeting. I have some minutes I can share with you, Chris, too, that I've called out funny moments, like specifically funny moments you guys have said. So that's a good start.
Yeah. That should be our blooper reel that we put up on Twitter every now and then.
Yeah. Well, hey,
the Pirates definitely are the second best team in baseball. They're 20-9. Wow. And I think the Rays are 23-6.
Wow. So we got a lot to dive into then. But
Yankees are in last.
Wow. And they got a grade D, but we'll get into that. Ace, I'm happy to be back here. Ace, you recently went on a trip that we just have not been able to discuss lately.
Yes.
Because it was just T and K last week. It was just T and K. But
lonely. We were so lonely.
We took a road trip, a couple friends and I, to Kansas City and experienced some great golf. So the golf courses down there were open. We went to a couple courses. Sunflower Hills and Paradise Point had two courses. This one we played was right on the lake. Can't remember what lake, but like almost half the holes were like basically tee up. You either are hitting over something on the water or you're hitting alongside the water. Beautiful places.
Wow.
And then of course the barbecue. You go for the barbecue too. They had burnt ends, which I'm a huge fan of. We went to three barbecue places. The best place was the last one we went to, was out of a little gas station called Joe's Kansas City Barbecue. One of the best ones.
Oh, that sounds a title like that. Sounds like you're about to get some good food.
I think so. For me, barbecue, the burnt ends are my favorite parts.
Oh yeah, that's good.
They're usually a little more crispier, but I don't know. I wanted to ask you guys what you guys like best and how much. Are you barbecue? Are you sauce? No sauce? I assume you got to dip it.
I'm both. I'm both. It depends. See, I'm lazy. Where like, if the sauce is on there, I'll eat it. If I have to put the sauce on, 9 times out of 10, I don't. But if I am feeling good, I will grab some sauce. Like, there's a lot of barbecue places down here, and they make their own sauces, like almost like a Mission Barbecue. When you go up to the table, they have like a tray of different. Like, I'll try one once in a while, but I'm lazy with sauces, man. I'll be honest.
He was shaking. Chris was shaking his head.
Dry rubs. Dry rubs are my thing. I love dry rubs with the option of dipping it or putting sauce over it. Like we've been to places already in Kentucky called the Shack where, man, they just had such a good freaking portion of food. I've been to places in Texas and they give you all these
dry rub, right?
Well, you can get sauces too, but they give you a lot of variety of sauces that you can try. St. Louis they definitely have a lot of different sauces. And for one, you're messing it up. It's not called burnt ends. It's called meat candy. It's candy for fat people. I love it. There's no more winter weight when you hit my age. It's called the dad bod. It's in, and if you can put a dry rub on it and throw it in the smoker, man, that's just music to my lips right there, man.
That place in Texas was delicious, by the way. That place in Texas was delicious. I'm also a sucker for like when you have a good piece of meat, like the fat on it, like the chewy fat with a good piece of meat attached to it. I'm all game for that.
That sounds like meat candy. Now that I'm surprised I haven't heard of that saying.
I'm not a fan of when you get older and you're so excited that you eat and it falls and it goes all over your shirt and ruins your shirt. That's why I love the dry rubs, man, because
that's not getting old. That's just being sloppy.
I'm at the age now where I need a bib because like I get so excited for freaking any kind of meat on the grill.
Yeah, he might be making an excuse for that age.
This man's acting like he's 50.
It was a great trip though, and perfect because the draft setup was actually on the south end of Union Station, which is a little bit south of the Power Light District. It's all kind of like in one line. So you have the Power Light District downtown, Union Station area, and then right next to that, kind of up a hillside, was the World War I Memorial, which they had the red carpet set up so that the players could pretty much walk down from kind of the main steps to get into that museum down to the opened air kind of stage that they had set up for the draft. It was really cool to be able to see that kind of firsthand, and leads in perfectly to
AC and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Ace, did you or did you not see Patrick Mahomes?
Nope. Definitely.
Wait, Ace, did you go to Kansas City Royals game though?
Oh yeah, sorry, God, completely forgot about that.
Because I remember my dad sent me a picture. And I was like, "Wow, like that stadium is gorgeous."
They have a great stadium. The food, I don't know why, but they were out of like a lot of the stuff to make. It was kind of disappointing, the food. But yeah, beautiful. They have the waterfalls, which is sweet.
Yeah. Who were they playing?
Braves scored 7 in the first.
Oh wow! At least you had an exciting game. You saw some runs. Was it a full stadium or was it pretty empty?
I guess like 2/3.
Okay.
They seem to draw well, but it's like, I'm guessing it's similar to what you were telling me off this about the Panthers, because you have to drive like 20 minutes outside of the main like downtown Kansas City area. So when you get there, we didn't get there in time to tailgate, but you can basically tailgate right next to it's the Chiefs Stadium.
Oh wow.
Which is pretty nice, but it is out there. It's out in the burbs pretty much.
Yeah, which is nice. I don't like when they're in the city. I feel it's a little more of a hassle. But yeah, like Ace said, like the draft just happened. Many guys' dreams just came true. Just your first initial reaction, guys, to the draft. If you had to think of one word, like I would think, I don't even know, like the talent is what shocked me. Like who went off the board. I mean, there were a lot of shocking picks that come to mind that I guess we could discuss in a little bit, but just your overall reaction. What did you guys think of the especially the first round?
I love the first round. I think it's so exciting, but I think they got to cut it down from 10 minutes. I think honestly, if they did it right, I think they could do the first round and the second round in the same day, which would be exciting. Because let's face it, those are the most exciting rounds, the first and the second round. After that, it's kind of like whatever. I mean, third round still is important, but I just think you don't need 10 minutes.
No.
But I just think it's too much time. These guys have their boards in front of them. They know. I just think if you're going to make a trade, maybe you hit a buzzer or something, or you call and you say, hey, we need more time. We're in the middle of a trade, but you can't go past that 10-minute mark. But I think they can rush it along a little faster.
That's a good point, actually, to basically put a timer or something so they can stop the time maybe from moving if they are negotiating trade.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
On TV. I had hockey on TV, basketball on my phone, and the Cowboys War Room on my computer. I mean, I was going crazy.
So it's funny. I thought Pittsburgh, both the Eagles and the Steelers, those two teams made out it seemed like they had great picks. I wanted the Vikings to get a cornerback, either Joey Porter or
how cool was it that he went to the same team that his dad drafted? Him.
Yeah.
But why did he drop? They had him projected in the first round, and he dropped.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because did he get drafted in the second round? He was like the first pick in the second round or something.
Well, the Vikings were part of what? They had like 4 receivers straight. I don't think there was many runs though. So I don't know why. But
so let me ask you guys this. I'm gonna ask it to you. I want you to give me a grade for how you feel like your team did, and tell me, do you think they did a good job or a bad job at drafting the positions that we have discussed that you think your team needed? Dad, I'll start with you. Dallas Cowboys. Did they draft? What's the grade you're going to give them? Do you think that they covered the holes and the gaps they need? Mozzie Smith was first off the board for you guys, which I like that. You took a tight end that you weren't necessarily happy with, but like let me get your thoughts here. Grade, and then yes or no, they did a good job.
I honestly, I don't know what to grade them because I don't know how everything's gonna turn out with these players. I mean, but if I had to give a grade, I'd say like maybe an A-, B+ because they did cover the holes that we have. I mean, one of the websites I'm looking at, they gave them a C, and that's basically off of because they don't. Mozzie Smith, everyone says like he doesn't get sacks, but at Michigan, his job wasn't to get sacks. His job was to stop the run, and he could be that guy. We needed a fat boy. How long have I been saying we need a fat boy in the middle that fills the hole, that is able to help our linebackers look better, because our linebackers were getting hit by the offensive linemen, which opened up the run game. Now we have that fat boy there that's going to be able to do that. That Luke Schoonmaker, he's another one. They're like, he doesn't look like a good tight end because, all he did at Michigan was block. Well, yeah, that's what Michigan did. They ran the ball. He's one of the best tight ends as far as blocking on the board. I just think he can be that guy that can go downfield and get open.
So do you think Dallas is going to be a team where they don't necessarily have a receiving tight end? I mean, who is your backup tight end? You lost Dalton Schultz. Who's still on your team that can catch? Isn't there another guy there?
We have Ferguson. We have a bunch of guys there yet. Hendershot. We have 2 guys we drafted last year. So I mean, we do have guys there. We have another Michigan.
But it's good to block though. It's good to have guys, because not many tight ends can block though. That's the thing. They either block or they receive. That is a good piece to add to your team.
The thing I'm excited to see is the edge guy we got, Viliami Fehoko. He's from, I think he was from like, I don't know, I forget what school he was from, but we got him late. He had like 19 sacks, 22 tackles for losses. So he's a good pickup. We also picked up the Marvin Overshown, who's a linebacker from Texas, who's like a Micah Parsons, is a great stand-up linebacker who can also rush from the end. So I think we filled the holes that we needed to fill, and we'll see what happens.
That's good. Micah Parsons, who was hosting a draft party, was very excited when you guys drafted Mozzie Smith. Ace, take us through from the Minnesota Vikings fans. Obviously it's been an interesting offseason. They're talking about, getting rid of Cook, and there's a lot of trade rumors on the block for him. What grade would you give the Minnesota Vikings right now on paper? And do you feel like they covered the holes that you needed or no?
I mean, I'm going to say a C+. I, to be honest, really only know Jordan Addison. The other guys, I like that we got a couple LSU players just because SEC, pretty dominant, especially on the defensive side. LSU has been, along with Georgia, and Alabama. We got a corner, so we got Jordan Addison, first round pick, receiver. We didn't have many draft picks either, so it's hard to like get a feel of what our new GM was going to do. But overall, I don't know if we got need as much as we would have liked. I think Jordan Addison pieces together what, like, we lost Thielen. We might lose Cook. It's basically a replacement for, Thielen. I think he's more of a, this will allow Jefferson to play in the slot more. We got a cornerback in the 3rd round, didn't have a 2nd round pick. I like that guy. I don't know. Thing is, I don't know much about them. They're just from good schools, USC.
Yeah.
And then we got the safety from LSU, the D tackle or nose
What
tackle.
What position was your first pick? What position was your first pick?
Receiver.
Which is, I guess, we need. Out of what school?
Talented dude. So we went USC cornerback.
Who'd you get? Who'd you get for wide receiver?
Jordan Addison.
Okay,
but that's what started it. There was a run of 4 receivers in a row that started with Minnesota, and then it screwed Dallas out of getting a receiver, basically.
I think the Bills moved up. So I liked what the Lions did, for instance, better than what, like, just looking in the division. I kind of liked what they did. knowing that it's going to be, Chris, you've mentioned this before, but it's going to be the Lions and the Vikings, I think, this next year in the division. And so now I'm kind of like, okay, what are the Lions? Did the Lions get better, more better than the Vikings? It seems like they did. So I'm curious how this is going to look.
Yeah. And I keep forgetting that the Lions got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson this offseason too, because I keep feeling like people forgot about that also.
Well, the professionals gave Minnesota a B+. They gave them a B+ for their draft. So
they know more than me, maybe, or maybe they don't watch film. Who knows?
Yeah. So I'll discuss the New Orleans Saints real quick. I feel like I'd give them a B-. I feel like overall, it's a very good spread of positions that we needed. We lost a lot of defensive linemen. We take a defensive tackle and defensive end the first 2 rounds, and 2 very athletic guys, good sacks. The Notre Dame guy, I remember Noah, dad sent me a stat on like the career stats that he had in his Notre Dame time. What I really like, and I didn't know if we were going to draft a running back or not. We take the TCU running back Miller in the 3rd round, and I love that first of all, he took a gangster photo, man. He's got this black button-down shirt, and his chest is open, and he's got the Saints hat on. He's looking down. He comes out, man. He says, "Listen, I got respect for Alvin Kamara, but I ain't sitting the bench. I'm coming out to play." And I was like, when I read that, I was like, Alvin Kamara, you need to like be ready, because Jamal Williams is going to be there. Alvin Kamara might be dealing with some trouble with the courts. We take another offensive lineman. I like that we take a quarterback in the 4th round who went to the same
that's
college.
A steal.
Who went to the same college as Derek Carr. So Derek Carr already knew him, has been to his games. I mean, his stats, I wish I pulled them up. I mean, 9,000.
That's a steal.
He has, and I don't know who Fresno State plays. I don't know what kind of good teams they play, but he had some really good stats where in my mind, I was like, that's a guy that can learn under Derek Carr. Say Derek Carr doesn't work out in 2 years. You got a guy right here who is coming up, and you can just go with it. You have so much young talent on the offensive side now where you can kind of roll the dice here. They're probably not going to keep Jameis Winston around after this year. You know what I mean? You could even trade Jameis Winston if you've confidence enough in this young guy to be a good guy to come off the bench if Derek Carr gets injured. But I saw that pick and I was like, I like that.
Dude, most of the big wigs that do all these like drafts and stuff had this Jake Haener as the 4th quarterback on the board, and you guys stole him in what, the 5th round, 6th round,
4th round.
And Brian Breezy, man, if Dallas didn't get Mozzie, I would love to have had him. That kid has a motor on him.
Yeah, what I like about Breezy
amazing.
and Foskey, the defenseman for that we got also there, they have like that Micah Parsons body where they move fast on the defensive line. And then we drafted this wide receiver, A.T. Perry, the last pick for us in the 6th round, where a lot of insiders and scouts are talking about how that is a gem and that's a steal with how fast he is and how good of a playmaker he is. Overall, I enjoyed the draft. I think, gosh, man.
I tell you what, the thing that shocked me the most, and by the way, the Saints got a B, which you're almost spot on.
Oh, wow. Okay. I actually didn't even know.
The Saints got a B.
And that seems fair. That seems realistic. I don't know.
I feel like we covered good ground. I feel like we covered really good ground. The only thing that I know, before you get to that, the only thing that didn't complete my checklist was Spears, the running back from Tulane.
Yeah. Where did he go, by the way?
He went to I looked it up. I think he went to the Rams. Was it the Rams? I looked it up. I can't remember, but I want to say it was the Rams, but I don't remember. Go ahead, Dad.
The thing that shocked me was the amount of trades that went on.
Yeah.
And the amount of quarterbacks. 14 quarterbacks were taken in this draft.
Man, a lot.
12 were taken in the first 5 rounds, which is an NFL record. There was only 9 quarterbacks taken last year in the whole draft.
I was going to bring that up to you guys, yeah.
They gave the Detroit Lions a grade of an A, but everyone bashed them for taking that running back from Alabama, Gibbs, with their first pick.
I thought that was dumb too.
I thought, you know what? They had Swift, who they traded away. And they just got Montgomery. So I was like, well, why would they want to go running back? You think what they need is defense? I thought they would have taken Jalen Carter.
So I have some insider
Jalen Carter on that line. That would have been amazing. And then they took Jack Campbell. And then they got one of the best receiving tight ends, Sam Laporta, who was listed going to Dallas. They got him. Great thing. And then they got their backup. They got their new quarterback that's going to take over for Goff when his contract's up. That Hendon Hooker.
They took Hooker. Which
that.
a lot of people are saying if Goff struggles, I don't think Goff will struggle. I got a little insight because I was curious about this whole situation because I have a buddy that's a Lions fan too. I texted him right away. I said, running back, like why? Like you said, Dad, you have DeAndre Swift on his last year of his rookie deal. You just got Montgomery. He signed a 3-year deal, $18 million contract, right? So they take Gibbs, right? And I guess what the inside thing was that reporters are saying is the writing was basically on the wall that they were looking to trade Swift. He's been injured a lot coming into his last year of his contract. But when they drafted Gibbs, I guess DeAndre Swift, right off the bat, as soon as they drafted him, they told him he doesn't want to play there anymore. As soon as they picked Gibbs. Gibbs was picked 12th overall out of Alabama, and there were 2 teams right off the bat that were aggressive. It was the Eagles and Miami. Both those teams were also looking at Dalvin Cook. So it's interesting. Now, this is what's mind-blowing to me. You have the Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles, who in the past 2 years, they have like pretty much the whole defensive line of Georgia that went to the championship. All right. And Dad, I know you're not going to like it. I mean, I know you're shaking your head, right? It's the Eagles. You just pay your quarterback. They say, wait, you just pay your quarterback. You have amazing receivers. You just go out and get Swift. It's not a guarantee that Swift stays healthy. They got Penny. They still have small, like they have a lot of talent on that Eagles team.
Yes.
They lost a lot of players. They lost a lot of players on defense, and then they filled those holes.
But last year they took Jordan Davis and they took Nakobe Dean. You didn't hear nothing about them all year.
Well, the one Jordan Davis got injured.
But I'm just saying, you didn't hear nothing about Dean. So all you heard about was Reddick. That's it. So just because like Dallas is becoming the University of Michigan's favorite freaking draft partner, you know what I mean? It doesn't mean that the talent that was in Alabama or Georgia or Michigan or wherever is going to come over and do the same thing in the NFL because the NFL is a different beast.
What school are you taking talent from, though? If you're not even say you're not a Michigan fan, are you taking defensive talent from Michigan or Georgia?
Alabama.
That wasn't an option on paper right now. All I'm saying is the Eagles are looking pretty scary, and I will say too, by the way, the Ravens, getting Lamar. And then they have OBJ. Then they draft the guy from Ohio State, wasn't it?
Did they get Jackson
I think that's who they got. And I remember I looked at it, I was like, wow, that makes the whole
He went off late.
That makes the whole thing look good though, because they just added a great receiver to their team.
My whole thing is though, Ty, is like look what Washington did a couple years ago, where Washington was drafting all those guys from Alabama.
They played great together.
Absolutely, but the problem is some of them got hurt, and guess what? Now some of them are not picking up their 5th-year option because when you get that much talent on one team, you can't afford it. Yeah, you can't afford it.
But I think the Eagles are. I think the Eagles are playing smart. Where, like you say on this podcast all the time, you can always find talent in the draft. You don't have to pay everybody. They let these defensive
Howie
players.
Roseman's the man.
They let these defensive players walk away, and they just filled it. Ooh. Go ahead, Ace.
But the thing is they lost a lot of talent in the offseason.
They gained it back. Yes. They gained it back, though.
But I think there's certain teams you can see in these drafts that know how to draft well. I think the Steelers are another team. I think the Saints are up there. I think
Steelers got
A+.
The
Cowboys have done really well, honestly.
The thing about the Cowboys.
The Cowboys passed on. Everyone was talking when they got Parsons. They should have gotten. I can't remember who the hell it was. Parsons fell in their lap pretty much. Like that's. Sometimes it's good to not do don't bite on something.
The Cowboys had Nolan Smith on the board. They could have taken 49ers. Nolan Smith, and they didn't. They passed on him. The thing about the Cowboys that I really, really like is the Cowboys find late round talent.
Yeah, they do. One pick that really surprised me, and I'm kind of upset he fell into my division, was the Falcons taking Bijan Robinson. I heard that name get talked, and I was like, man, that's tough. They don't necessarily have a good quarterback, but all I'm saying is if you're Ritter, who's coming into your 2nd year as a quarterback in the NFL, and you just watched your team draft Bijan Robinson, that definitely takes some of the pressure off your lap and shoulders and helps you hand the ball off like a Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry kind of situation and just make a couple passes here and there. I wanted to ask you guys this, though. Tennessee Titans draft Will Levis in the 2nd round, which everyone thought he was going to be gone in the 1st round. Who, the Tennessee Titans draft Malik Willis last year, don't think he's even going to be mentioned in that opportunity this year. You think Ryan Tannehill is going to be traded out? You think he starts? You think they battle? Do you think they get the opportunity to battle it out in training camp, or do you think they're going to continue to go with Ryan Tannehill? I know
I
none
think
of
it's
us are
Tannehill's job to
Titans.
lose.
Yeah, I know none of us are Titans fans here, but I wanted to
It's-
pick your brain on that. You know,
Doesn't he? I think we're gonna know soon because I thought I had heard he has a they need to pick up his option something on the
there's been a
contract.
lot of rumors where they were looking to trade him, and like him going to the Jets if Rodgers didn't go there. Like there was a lot of things spiraling out of control there.
He's
But
not owed a lot. Like I would rather for his salary, I'd have him over half the league. Maybe I don't know.
yeah, I mean he's not bad. I mean I don't think he's a quarterback that's going to take you to the Super Bowl, but he'll get you to the playoffs if that's what you want.
And I
If
don't
that's
know
what
how
you want.
good. What were they? I think Richardson and however Will. I'm gonna call him
Yeah.
Will.
Yeah, let's call him Will. Levi. I don't know.
Anthony and Will. Those two were probably the most raw of like the quarterbacks that were supposed to get picked in the first round.
Hey, yeah, Anthony Richardson. You guys think that's gonna be a bust? Or you think that's
Right.
you think that's gonna be a good fit for the Colts?
All
I
teams
look.
in that division got quarterbacks, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think
they
it's gonna be
said-
a bust.
They
I
said
think
though the
he's-
teams that were picking that division, like you're picking to compete with Trevor Lawrence right now. Like you need to pick like obviously the Texans get CJ Stroud. You know, like they go ahead, Dad.
I just think you have a quarterback that's going into a situation where there's no weapons to really help him out. The Colts are a mess. Houston is a mess. Houston's building up offensively and defensively more, but there's no weapons for him to throw to either. I think that division is going to be between Tennessee and it's going to be between Jacksonville, and Jacksonville loaded up.
Yeah.
So Jacksonville.
Sorry, yeah, Jacksonville. I don't know. It sounds crazy, but Jacksonville should be the favorites easily in that division.
Yeah. One situation that I think is either going to thrive very successfully or be a complete failure, I'm a little nervous about it, is Bryce Young going to the Carolina Panthers. They got Frank Reich. They have all these amazing coaches. They built an amazing coaching staff there. They stacked up on the defensive line, the defensive backs this offseason. They don't necessarily have the best wide receiver room, but they have Miles Sanders at running back. Like he is going into a situation to thrive. Like, and that is like, it's a little worrying to me because I think the Saints are still dominant in that division, but like that's a team where I feel like them and like I think just them for now, but that's a team that I think is going to be good in the next 2 to 3 years. Like,
man, what did they give? They traded away their pick in order to move up and
to the
DJ
first pick
Moore.
overall. Yeah, first they gave that to the Bears.
They do have good running backs at least. I don't know what to think about them honestly. They ran the ball well last year, so that's a good sign.
Yeah. Well, Ace wanted to ask the question. Ace, I'll let you ask the question that you talked to me before the podcast as far as a certain moment in the draft.
Oh, yes. I think it had to be at least for me. So I wanted to ask you guys the draft moment that made you tear up, or at least like get to that point. I can be somewhat of a crier depending on what it is, so it can be easy for me. Kansas State, mine was real quick. The
Cowboys thing.
The Cowboys one.
That was
yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I think
I didn't tear up, but
when you see a dad
awesome.
cry like that, man, like that gets me a little bit.
Well, the thing that I really liked was the fact that his dad got to call his son and say, "Hey, how do you feel about going to work with Dad on Monday?"
Yeah.
And then Jerry Jones got on the phone and said, "We're taking you." And he's only 5'5". You know, apparently
what position? He's running back, right?
And apparently he's a really good running back. He's a really explosive. He's elusive, and he's going to be a great 1-2 combination with Pollard. And the thing is everyone looks at his size and says 5'5". Joe Morris was a good running back at 5'5".
You also know that they did not allow him to scout his own son, so he wasn't even involved in any of that decision.
Oh wow. Okay.
I think a moment for me, it didn't necessarily make me cry, but it made me feel like a certain way inside is CJ Stroud and Bryce Young like are childhood friends. And there's a video you can find on Instagram where Bryce Young is backpedaling real slow and he's watching the TV and you hear the Houston Texans select CJ Stroud, and he just closes his eyes and screams so loud, and he's just so hyped for his friend. And I thought that's just an amazing moment. Like you are living out your NFL dream, and your childhood friend gets drafted right behind you.
The thing that I really like though is the Jets nailed it by letting that kid who is as a cancer survivor come out and announce the pick for the Jets. I think they nailed it. I think that was
cool.
awesome. Those are good moments like that. Some of the other moments that were pretty cool was when Jalen Carter came out and picked up Goodell and hugged him, and Goodell whispered in his ear. I was wondering if he was thinking, by the way, I'm going to have to suspend you this year. Just
be on your best behavior.
Yeah, it was. I love the draft. I get pumped for the draft, and it always comes through. It's always interesting.
Yeah. Last thing I'm going to bring up for the NFL, I'm going to scratch the one thing I want to talk about tonight, but I want to ask you guys, because we didn't get to talk about it last week because it happened after our podcast. Aaron Rodgers did officially get traded to the New York Jets. It wasn't that big of a deal in my personal opinion, of what they got in return. In my personal opinion, like this is huge. And I'll give my feedback in a second, but I want to ask you guys this one question for all any Jets fans listen. Where do you guys see the Jets landing next year at the end of the year, right? Do you think they're going to be a team that competes and is hard to beat, right? Do you think that they're going to be a wild card team, a playoff team, a Super Bowl contender, a bust? Like, what is your opinion on that? I'll start with you, Ace.
Division round loss to the defending no, I can't go there. I'm going to say a divisional round loss. So they'll win one playoff game, lose the next. I think they should win. Well, actually, I think we looked. They have a really tough schedule anyway. So if they get to 10, 11 wins, they should at least get the wild card. If not, they should get a wild card spot in divisional round. I think they can win one game depending on who they play.
Dad, we'll end with you because I'm curious about your opinion. But I think with that division, I think it's going to be a little bit of a tough division. I think if you are playoff hopes with Mike White stepping in at midway through the season and you're at one point almost tied for first place, I think with that talent, I think with Aaron Rodgers stepping in, I know he had a bad year last year. I think in the two out of the last 3 years, he was an MVP. Sure, he could be declining. I don't know. I could be spitting lies here. But I think Aaron Rodgers stepping in and already going to work with Garrett Wilson, I think the Jets are a threat. I think that, like you said, Ace, I don't necessarily think they're going to be a Super Bowl contender, but I do think that they're at least legit wild card contenders, if not maybe winning 2 playoff games. Go ahead, Dad.
I honestly think that the Jets are going to finish last this year. I really do.
Let's write that one on the whiteboard right there.
And listen. I just think
I like that though.
And I just think this is why. I think
last
the Jets
in
are going
the
to
division
struggle.
or last in the league.
They're not going to make the playoffs. I think the problem is if Rodgers plays 65% of the games, which is 11 games, Green Bay gets a first-round draft pick. I think the Jets are going to struggle to the point where they're going to have either Aaron is going to get hurt and he's going to sit out. They're going to screw the Green Bay Packers out of that first-round pick. The thing that I find interesting, though, is the Jets' salary cap for this season. I mean, it's awkward because they took Aaron Rodgers' contract and, like, I don't know if they made it
sign-in bonus.
But he's only getting paid $2 million this year. Next year, he's guaranteed $107.55 million next year. So they created like $48 million of salary cap room, but they're going to have to pay him $107 million next year. So
it's a weird situation.
Guarantees them 2 years, but I don't think they're going to click this season. I think it's next season where they're going to click, and I think they're going to shut him down for some reason, some mysterious. This is just me though, and I think he's not going to play the 65%. And the Packers, who drug their feet this whole time through this contract, they're going to get screwed out of a first-round pick, and they're going to end up getting a second-round pick.
I love it. I also think too, the whole contract situation is interesting because they turned something. It was like either 48 or 58 of his million into a signing bonus or something. And like you said, that they have that like 48, 44 million cap space now or something. So it's kind of like, who else are they going to go get now? Like, who else can they load the team up with? One thing, though, that you said, and it makes me think, like, you think about the team he had last year with Lazard was hurt a lot at first. He had, like, a whole new offense in front of him, and he was able to slowly pump them up and get them going. I think he could do it with the Jets, too, and how much talent the Jets have compared to Green Bay. But who knows? Like, they might do bad. It would be cool, right? You think about the sports world. The Knicks are in the playoffs. The Rangers were in the playoffs. Like, if the Jets could get to the playoffs, like that'd be, I couldn't tell you the last time the Islanders, like New York is thriving right now. And I couldn't tell you the last time I've seen the Jets in the playoffs.
I can tell you this. The Jets went 7-10 last year. They'll win 9 games. New England's going to finish last, but the Jets are going to miss out on the wild card.
That's a good prediction. That's a very fair prediction. I mean, 2 games better than what they were last year. I mean, 100%. That's great. I enjoy that.
Yeah.
All right.
Just the schedule alone, honestly, like you got to think they're going to lose at least 6 games based off some of the teams they're playing from the West plus their division.
Yeah. Dude, the Jets got a D for their draft.
Really?
A D?
They got a D.
God,
for their grade.
Take those.
Well, they took an offensive tackle in the first round, or a defensive player. I forget who they. I thought it was. I think their
first pick was
an offensive tackle.
I think their first pick was an edge. Let me see. Yeah, the first pick was an edge. Will McDonald IV.
Load that defense up, baby.
They took a guard. They took a guard in the second round. They took an offensive tackle in the third round. They took a running back in the fourth round, a linebacker, a cornerback, and then a tight end.
So 2 offensive linemen.
I got to tell you something. The Packers, they're absolutely freaking stupid. The Packers took an edge with their first pick again. Instead of going out and getting one of the best receivers in the draft, they took an edge, and then they took a tight end with their second pick. They didn't pick up a freaking receiver to the third round. Dang. And then they picked up another receiver in the 5th round, and they picked up Sean Clifford from Penn State, the quarterback, which was shocking.
I saw that. I was shocked that he was even drafted. I thought he'd go undrafted, but congratulations to him. The Packers also came out today and said that they don't think they're going to pick up Jordan Love's 5th-year option. The guy said, I don't know if it was the GM or the owner, said it's just too much money for a guy that hasn't played enough, which is fair. It's fair. We're going to transition out of the NFL. We're going to discuss the NHL playoffs, baby, because the first round, I got to tell you, I forgot how much I love hockey. I said that a couple weeks ago, but like the atmosphere for playoff hockey is insane. No matter what game, like I had the Islanders game on the other day. I had the Rangers game on the other day. Like the crowd's atmosphere and the energy they give off is just thriving. I've obviously been following the Panthers. You can tell by the hat if you're watching on us on YouTube. Game 6 was insane. It was 12 points total. You have the 8 seed playing the 1 seed, right? It's a 43-point differential throughout the regular season. That's how big of a difference these 2 teams were. Down 3-1, and the Panthers were able to push it to Game 7. Game 6 was a 12 points total, and they were able to win half. Do you know that this was I think
that's the game you should have went to.
I was supposed to go to that game, man. It was crazy. Do you know that this was like the most amount of overtimes in the first round of playoffs like ever in NHL? Like they've been talking about how crazy this is, right?
Dude, goalies didn't exist.
So I legit
didn't exist.
I thought, man, does our goalie suck? And then I just kept thinking like the Panthers had. I have a crazy stat here, right? The Bruins had an NHL record of 65 wins season, right? It's the best season that anyone's ever had in NHL. And they had a 3-1 lead versus the Panthers, and the Panthers were able to force a Game 7 and won in overtime. Like, you got to think the goalie for the Panthers was able to hold on. I mean, it was just goal after goal on both sides. The game is incredible. If you didn't get to watch the game, Panthers are about to be eliminated with 1 minute left. And, where is it? Brandon Montour has a Montour mania moment, scores a second goal with, I kid you not, with just 1 minute left. I mean, the commentators are talking about how the goalies are about to have the biggest hug ever because they both played the whole series and they've been so good teammates. Yep. The crowd is so loud, and it goes to overtime, and you could just hear a pin. You could hear a pin drop.
Dude, 1 minute and 9 seconds.
I literally in my car was like, it is what it is. It was a good season.
And it sucked because at work I have the Boston Bruins in my pool.
Yeah,
and that's the curse of the President's Cup. I mean, they had the President's Cup last year. They lost in the first round. They got the President's Cup this year. Set all the records in the world in hockey. Eliminated.
It goes to overtime, and again, the crowd is just so loud. No one has left yet, and no one is sitting down. And the Panthers score like 5 minutes into the overtime, and it is just so quiet. You can literally hear the players cheering. And I love the respect level after the game. Obviously they don't have to shake hands, but the way they all start hugging and shaking hands, it is an NHL historic upset. And I feel like it was like the great time to become a fan. One of the biggest ever. I mean,
big time.
A great time to be a Panthers fan. I just think everyone at work told me, don't take them.
Don't take them. It's the President's Cup jinx. I had the first pick, and I went with my gut and I took them.
Well, isn't it crazy that like in every sport we see this, NFL, NBA, NHL, like you have these teams that are so good all year, the best team in the league, and they can never take it home. It's always the teams that get hot right before playoffs. We see that year after year. I'm excited the Panthers are going to go on and play Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm not saying the Panthers are going to go all the way, man, but if you could beat a team that had a 65 win season, the number 1 seed, I mean, you could do this. You can do this.
I'm rooting for Canada. I'm sorry. I'm rooting for Canada. They haven't had a Stanley Cup since the 90s. I'm rooting for Canada. You know what's funny? The Avs, the defending champion Avs, who were riddled with all this drama and stuff from one of their players, getting a girl drunk or whatever. I don't even want to get into it. But everyone talks about the Kraken upsetting them. The Kraken had 100 points this year and was a wild card team. The Kraken was good. They scored their first goal in all 7 games. So it wasn't an upset. I mean, they were a good team.
Oh, they scored the first goal in every single game. So
every single game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know how many games went to a game 7 too? I think at least 4. I mean, it's crazy.
There's
you didn't
3
see
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't.
There's
see
still
any.
one game not decided yet.
Today is the 4th,
Rangers play the Devils tonight.
Yeah,
and the
that's
winner of
been a
that
great
game
series.
gets Carolina Hurricanes, who's the number 1 seed.
Yeah, it's been an amazing series with the Jersey Devils and the Rangers. That has been a great game.
I actually can pick up that team. I can do a second round buy-in and buy the Carolina Hurricanes.
Carolina's good.
But I look, they only won 1 game against the Devils this year and only won 1 game against the Rangers this year. So I'm kind of like, no.
I told my fiance, I said, if the Panthers keep going round by round, I said, we're going to go to at least 1 game per round. As long as the tickets drop, because they're at $151 right now. If they come back down to 80 like they were for the last game, I'll go. I'll buy tickets the day of. It's only a 30-minute drive for me. Most beautiful stadium that I have been to. It's amazing. Last time we had a podcast, I was actually when I said to you, like, I think I'm going to go to the game tomorrow. And you were like, yeah, you should. And I did. I had an amazing time.
Oh, you should see.
I'm going to go right here.
At the window.
I'm saying it right now. The Dallas Stars will be playing the Toronto Maple Leafs in the championship.
Come on now.
Yeah, the Stars who beat the Wild, arguably
they got the best goalie. They got the best goalie left.
I was gonna say Dallas versus what's the other? Either the Canes or Toronto. So we're kind of in line. I hate to.
Well, it's funny because the Oilers, who are the top scoring team in the NHL, are playing one of the best defensive teams in the NHL, the Knights.
Yeah,
that's gonna be an amazing battle.
I like the Golden Knights. That's a cool whole story. I love that.
Their team is huge. They got some big guys apparently, but the Oilers have one of the best players. What the heck's his name again? It's not McDavid. Who the
McKinley?
No, Oilers.
McDavid.
Is it? Maybe it is McDavid. I'm thinking he basically wears number 99, just like 97, I think. Kind of models his game. He's so fast on the ice. Like
that's why I like seeing the fast.
Yeah, can control the puck.
Yeah, they were ripping on me at work today. Oh, how upset are you? I'm like, I'm a Flyers fan. I'm not upset. The Bruins lost. They lost. I'm not upset. It is what it is.
I think as I start to watch hockey again, I think if I had to pick, man, I think I enjoy watching hockey over basketball. I enjoy watching basketball. I love watching my Sixers, but like there's something about hockey that like you're always intrigued.
The only thing interesting about basketball right now is if you look at the remaining seeds on both sides, it goes 1 through 8 perfectly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the only thing that's perfect about it. Other than that, I can't stand the fact that you drive down the hole every freaking time someone drives to the basket.
So many fouls.
Yep.
We're just going to transition into NBA here, by the way.
It's not basketball.
Perfect way. Ace, I'm sorry about your Wolves. I'm sorry about the Bucks.
By the way, the Wolves got some terrible ass calls. I know they weren't going to beat the Nuggets, but they got absolutely terrible calls against them the entire series. And of course, like when, Rudy Gobert tries to swing at the other player at the end of the season, you just kind of had a feeling this wasn't going to be the best.
And
then the Bucks also kind of a collapse, not similar to Boston Bruins, but like different sports.
It's a big upset.
But Giannis was out.
Yeah, Giannis was
out.
So you kind of take that. But the Jimmy Butler, I think, could lead this team. And you might have called it, Chris, going to the finals, or I think one of us might have said playing in the finals.
He's so good. He's so
good.
The
thing about, I tell you what, though, the thing about Minnesota is with those two big men that can play at the same time, they gave Denver a hard time. You see how Denver blew out Phoenix the first game because Phoenix is small? You guys are onto something. If you add a couple more pieces to what you have, that's a really, really solid team.
Is Minnesota going to be back deep in the playoffs next year?
They're definitely going to be back.
I'm a Bucks fan, and I'm going to be another fan next year.
They'll probably pick up. They'll pick up James Harden or something.
No, God, no.
Hey, James is playing great for us. I think they played tonight, actually.
They are. Sixers are losing right now, 38-31. No Embiid, so it's gonna be like if we don't get Embiid back, we're done. The Sixers will be done. We'll get the gentleman's sweep. We'll get a 5-game sweep.
It's debatable.
It's just
who are we playing again?
Boston. And Boston is the best team left in the East side.
So good. We don't play good against Boston.
They are good. We're losing right now. We're losing 38-31 at the end of the first quarter. I'll check the stats.
I'll tell you what, though. I would rather lose to Boston than see another year of us losing to the Heat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired.
Yeah, see, this is the problem right now.
Celtics Heat, actually.
That'd be a great series. I might even go to a game.
This is your scoring right now in the first quarter for the Sixers. PJ Tucker, 0 points. Tobias Harris, 6 points. Paul Reed, who's filling in for Embiid, 0 points.
I like Paul Reed. But you have to understand, though.
Kills.
You have to understand, though. Paul Reed and PJ Tucker are absolutely amazing at getting rebounds.
Absolutely.
The PJ Tucker saved us in some of those games.
But against a team like this, you got to score.
Absolutely,
Maxey, 3 points. Your leading scorer, James Harden, 16 points. You know how many points we have on the bench right now? 6. You can't do that.
It's early in the first, though. You said it's early in the first.
First is over.
Well, who do you think comes out of? Okay, the Celtics come out. Who comes out of the rest of the series? I think the Nuggets win too.
There's someone that knows the series, like say blank is playing blank, and we'll say who's winning.
The Warriors are playing the Lakers.
I think the Warriors
beat the Warriors, but the Lakers beat the Warriors 3 times this year in regular season.
Oh, I'm taking the Warriors. Steph Curry. Steph Curry hit a different level though in Sacramento, where he was proven
Game 7.
He was proven that he was still Steph Curry.
But you got to remember something. This is the Golden State team that only won 11 road games all year. And the thing is Street Clothes is playing phenomenal right now.
I was going to say we might have to retract that statement if he wins Finals MVP or something.
No, you know my projection is they fall behind. Golden State goes up like 3-1. And Street Clothes goes back to his usual self and hits the bench.
See,
I do think the Warriors win, though. I think the Lakers are playing hot, but I think the Warriors are going to come out victory on that one.
I misspoke. I think the Lakers beat the Warriors, and then the next one in the West is Denver Phoenix. I think Phoenix beats.
Phoenix. I think Phoenix. Phoenix is on fire, and Chris Paul wants it desperately. I think this is his last opportunity.
They got
really
blown out by 20 in the first game. Man, they're out. Man, they have no bench scoring, which is killing them. Me personally, I think it's
Ace. You stick with it. Ace.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the Suns.
I think it's Denver versus the Warriors, and I think unfortunately, I think Miami beats the Knicks because Randall's hurt, and I think Boston beats the Sixers. Miami versus Boston, and I agree. Denver versus the Warriors, and I think in the finals it's Boston versus the Warriors. I think it's Boston versus Denver.
I think if the Sixers can find a way to somehow dig out and win this game without Embiid, that gives them hope. But I think
you have to steal one.
I think Boston comes out on top, unfortunately, unless Embiid comes out and they play well. And I agree. I think Miami beats Knicks all day. I think as cool as it is to see the Knicks fans. I don't know if y'all watch those videos of the Knicks fans out in the streets. Yo, Kevin Durant.
Yeah, but Brunson's a ball hog. I'm sorry, and I know Reed listens to this.
But he scores.
Brunson's a ball hog. I understand that, but if Brunson would learn to get his points, plus get other guys, you got R.J. Barrett, you got Randall, get these guys involved. The Knicks, man, the Knicks could be one of the best teams in the league. But you if you watch the game, you'll watch where Brunson gets in that stage where he just looks like Iverson every time. He's got to find a way to get his shot off, and I think that's what the key thing is if they get him dialed in where they can work together. I think the Knicks are a really solid team. I just think with Randall being out, man, I think Miami's riding high.
Butler and Curry are playing at unbelievable levels for their teams right now. So I think it's just, and Butler's turning into that passer also that you kind of like to see.
And
he sprained his ankle. He sprained his ankle and continued to play just so he can be a presence on the floor for his team. It's crazy.
If Curry wins another title this year, does this era, does he surpass LeBron in terms of this
That's
era?
a great
Absolutely.
question, Ace, because
Yes.
I've always thought about if Curry wins another
Okay.
title, when does he come into the GOAT talk? Because number one, Curry's changed the game. He's, in my opinion, and I think 80% people agree, Curry's the best shooter that I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, he's the only guy to put 50 points up in a game 7.
Yeah, he's changed the
35
3-point.
years old.
He's changed
wow.
every little kid's way they play basketball. Everybody wants to shoot the three now, like Steph Curry. I mean, his shot is smooth. He barely misses. I mean, there's videos of him going out before games, making half-court shots like it's nothing, draining 50 three-pointers in a row. The guy's unbelievable. And I think that if he wins another title, I think he deserves to be right there with LeBron. That's just my personal opinion.
I honestly, the thing I like is he called out his teammates and said, look, if you want to dwell on what happened, just don't even come out and play. We'll play without you. But I don't think they have the big man. They're a small team that depends on the three. And I think when they go against a team like Denver that has the Joker and Jamal Murray and these other guys that can back guys down and shoot the three as well, I just think that's what's going to be the Achilles heel for the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Green's great. He's a scrappy guy, but I don't think they have enough to carry them over the hump to get to the championship. I think this is Denver's year where they can win it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's a good
Denver.
point. Because the toughest team, they'll technically, the Suns, I think, will give them the toughest test, or they should. Yeah. I don't know. Who knows? I think the Lakers are going to surprise teams because unless, I don't know who the big man is for the Warriors, but Davis, if he can play at that level, he should take over that game, that series.
I don't know about you guys as far as what you're thinking. I think Ace's quick 6 here on the Derby would be a great way to transition this podcast out if y'all are good with that.
Oh my God, the Yankees are winning.
Yeah, that's.
Oh my God, they're beating Cleveland.
No way.
Help! Oh, the Sixers tied the game. Anyway.
Let's go, baby! Let's go! It ain't over till it's over. My roommate's a diehard Boston fan.
Every sport. Okay.
Come on, Ace. We're gonna transition to Aces. We're gonna bring it back into Aces. Hot. Wait, Ace, I got this for you. Ready? Let me get my legs ready. I don't know if you can hear this. Does it sound like horses?
Oh crap! No, we can't.
Wait. Let me throw my mic up. Hold on. Here we go. Ready?
Oh, don't hear it. You're failing.
We'll add it in. We can add it in.
That's tough. I tried to add the horse gallop for you, but I failed.
All right. Ace quick 6 Kentucky Derby numbers. I'm going 1 through 6. First to
Derby.
6. This is how I think they're going to finish in order, 1 through 6.
That means you need to go drop $500,000 right now on this bet and then share the winnings with us.
$5 might win you 500,000 if you get this right. I'm not sure on that though. Kidding. All right. The first who I think is going to win, 20-1 odds, Skinner. I'm just going to go with it.
We should write this on a white. Ace, I'm going to text somebody and be
Skinner.
like, put $5 on this line. And if you win it, just give us
a lot of money to go 1 through 6 in
Absolutely.
order. Okay. Skinner, Forte is the odds-on favorite at 3-1. I'm picking him to finish second, so it'll be close. So the second best odds, Tappet Trice, 5-1. That sounds like some music I think, Chris, you might have listened to back growing up.
That NWA.
Because I'm old.
I don't, just the hip hop. Continue R 50-1 odds, Verifying 15-1 odds, and probably my favorite name, Rocket Can at 30-1 odds to round out the top.
I'm telling
6.
you, my brother loves to place bets. I'm going to text him like, hey, you need to listen to episode 181, number one. Also share it to your Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. But you need to place a $5 bet on this exact order of how the race is going to end. And if that sucker hits, Ace, I'm taking you to the casino.
So here's honestly, let me tell you my math around this. I looked up betting experts tips and they said to stay away from 10 different horses. So I stayed away from all 10 of those. There's 20 in the race, stayed away from those 10. So now it's down to 50% roughly I had to choose from.
There we go.
And those first 3 are like somewhat of the favorites, I guess. So who knows? I don't know. We'll see. But
I love it.
Tell your brother, because I think this is
Ace's hot 6 coming at you. I love it. Hey, I've enjoyed
Dude,
this.
doesn't it? I want to ask you guys something real quick though. Doesn't it aggravate you where a player plays so freaking amazing for a contract season and then gets hurt the next year?
Yes.
I mean, Tatis,
Happens all the time. Usually.
Judge, Rondon for the Yankees. The Yankees are the place where you go to sign a big contract and don't play. That's the place to go.
Mm.
Something real interesting. Have you guys been noticing that new sport that's trending in the upward direction? That bare knuckle fighting.
Oh
bare
yeah, that's
knuckle fighting?
crazy, bro. I couldn't
Dude,
do that.
Conor McGregor
Nah.
was in Colorado the other night. Friday night, he was in Colorado.
Supporting it or promoting it or whatever.
He was in the crowd, but then they called him in the ring, and he had the freaking bare knuckle strap on his shoulder, and some guy called him out, and I think Conor's gonna fight. But they had Eddie Alvarez and another UFC fighter. Dude, I was watching with Noah. They were freaking throwing and there's nothing on
There's
your
nothing,
fingers,
man. I mean, you're eating
just
your
just
face
protecting the
up,
wrist.
though.
Dude, they were pounding the crap out of each other, and at the end of it, they hugged it out and everything. Eddie Alvarez is 2-0.
That can't be good for your health, though, man. I mean, taking knuckles to your face and just cutting your face up, man. Like I watch those videos and I'm just like, dang, man. Like I couldn't do it.
Yeah, same. It's hard to watch that when there's so many other well, I guess this is sanctioned, but so many other sports.
Like at least UFC, you got some kind of glove on, even though it's thin, even though it's light, it makes it feel a little better.
Dude, the guy that called out Conor McGregor was at the bare knuckle fight 41. His name is Mike Perry. He breaks Lou Rockhold, who used to be a UFC guy, knocks his teeth out of his mouth, and wins in the second round for a TKO. He calls Conor out. Conor comes in the freaking ring with the strap on his shoulder. It's all over YouTube. You can see it. Thing about Conor that is weird. Dude, Conor must have been on roids or something, dude. His face is all fat.
They said that he
His
basically
neck's
had
all
to
fat.
for the way his foot broke.
Dude, he's juice, man. His face is huge.
He's huge. He's huge, and he kept his boat. He kept his boat. He kept his boat in international water. So technically, he wasn't failing the test and stuff for UFC. He didn't. It's some weird thing where, I mean, he was taking Instagram photos, and his chest was huge.
Huge, dude. It looked like he got stung by 15 bees in his face.
He looks good,
and his
man.
neck, dude.
He looks good. He's supposed to come back for UFC. He's doing that whole thing.
Mom swears it's not him. That it's whatever.
Conspiracy. I love those.
Yeah.
Hey, this is episode 181. I love. We're almost at 200. We'll have to do something crazy for episode 200, dress up a certain way or something.
I'll podcast outside.
That's not special. We'll all meet up in a room.
We gotta have
together or
guests
something.
lined up,
We'll
maybe.
go somewhere.
Yes, and try to have maybe have it
maybe 5 different guests on that just keep rotating in and out.
or we try to meet up somewhere, or just have a special guest on. I think that would be pretty cool if we could meet up. Maybe
That'd be cool. We'll all go to Ace's house.
Yeah. Well,
I-
the crazy continuation of the sporting events continues. So we'll see what happens this week.
Yeah. We hope you guys have enjoyed this. Obviously, keep sharing the love. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. If you like the new edits, shoot a little comment in there. Tell us how you think about it.
I had a request, by the way. The guy that made the outro music, he said, just turn it up a little bit. You can barely hear it.
It's really loud though. We gotta be able to hear our voices.
Yeah, I know. Just turn up a little bit more because
do a slow
you
fade
really
in.
can't hear it.
We'll do a slow fade in, maybe, if you can do that,
Yeah.
Ty. So then
So you
we
just
can
gonna have to work it in, Ty. You're gonna have to turn it up just a little bit, a scoontis
I
amount.
mean, if this guy isn't an artist, I don't know how much we should be. No.
Well, we hope you all have enjoyed this podcast. Continue to share the love, and like we do every week, once a week here on the podcast, Everything Goes with TAK. We'll see you guys next time.
Let's go Sixers!